mentioned that you are trying to make resources available, because I like the mindset that you have with this. You said, how do we uproot some of these old destructive patterns? How do we redirect the experiences and, basically, and heal? But and you brought something up. You said resources like doulas and things of that nature. Now, when I was growing up, this was like a unheard thing, that like if you did that, you was off the grid. Like you wasn't getting no help from the hospitals. That was like, you try to do everything on your own. Good luck and all that kind of stuff. So are you saying this is becoming more of a regular practice, that people can get access to these type of resources without going off the grid?
Yeah, so as a matter of fact, the state of California just passed a bill, and it is going to, starting January, I believe, 2023, doulas will be a benefit for Medi-Cal. So if you have Medicaid, you can have your doula paid for through Medi-Cal. Of course, there's a lot of work that's being done to bring that into fruition, but that is something that was just passed. So that definitely will increase access. And then there's a lot of also work that's happening just locally. There are initiatives in which there's community-based training for doulas, so that we can actually beef up the workforce of doulas and make sure that they have a decent living, especially here in the Bay Area, especially if they're new, and so, yes, access to doulas is definitely something that is increasing. I mean, doulas are not cheap. I don't know if anyone knows, but
that's like a rich folk thing.
Yeah,
or
it's become that. It started with us, and then it became a rich folk thing.
Yes.
And so I think one of the gaps that we'll have to still continue to figure out is, you have the super wealthy that can afford, and now you have those that qualify for Medi-Cal, but then you have the middle class that will still, like we said, you make 100,000, spending 3,000 on a doula can be a lot to take on. Living in the Bay Area. And so I think there's still work that needs to be done to ensure access, especially to Black women. But there's been a lot of positive change.
Got it. Okay. And for folks who don't know, what is a doula?
A doula is a birth partner, a birth assistant, an advocate in the hospital, someone that understands what your desires are for your birth experience, and they advocate for that. They are your partner. They can provide education. They can provide prenatal and postpartum support. It depends on what the doula specialty is. They can be a birth doula. They can be a postpartum doula. They can be a full spectrum doula, meaning they do the whole your whole journey, pregnancy and after. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of research that shows that C-sections, preventable C-sections, are actually, the rate of preventable C-sections goes down when there's a doula involved.
Interesting.
And so there's a lot of research that shows the efficacy of having a doula as your partner in the hospital, at a birthing center. And so that's why there's so much effort that's happening. I mean, I think there's a lot of folks that are understanding there is a need to return back to what we know, in that the birth experience does not have to be so medical. I'm about to make up a word, medicalized. Is, giving birth is a spiritual experience. It is not just this clinical experience. It is a spiritual experience. And I think that is what doulas help to honor. is this is a yes, there's something happening to my body, there's something happening to me spiritually, there's something happening to me on, you know, on all levels, and there's an honoring of that, and that I don't have to have
Mm,
all these different medications that lead to other interventions that lead to a
yeah,
C-section. We don't
yeah.
have to have that. um and so that's why they're needed.
Historically speaking, this speaks to that phrase, that's why it takes a village to raise a child. You have some societies that had, for lack of better terms, woman clubs, if you will, where when a woman reached a certain stage in her pregnancy in the third trimester, she went with the women, and the women were to take care of her, but not just take care of her, but basically what you mentioned, help
Hmm.
her experience pregnancy from another perspective, so that the transition was, I don't want to say pleasant, but more manageable. You
Hmm.
know, it was more manageable, but it was an experience that was more uplifting than just, the
Yeah.
clinical side where, oh shoot, I got to get some stitches,
Right, right,
something
right,
like that.
right.
Um, uh, and you also mentioned that doulas were around post pregnancy. That never dawned on me. But when I think about, and these are only from books that I've read or elders I've spoken to, they talk about how in some societies, the baby didn't even see other people until after 3 months of being in a, for lack of better terms, nursing home. But it wasn't an actual nursing home. They're with their mother and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
But they were being tended to by the women of the community
Yeah.
based on the needs of the mother,
Mm-hmm.
and their understanding of pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just making more sense that when you say we're returning to our ways, it's I see that in more ways than one. Let me just say that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Absolutely.
so with that being said, I want to thank you for your time and for you to be willing to share your story, because I think it's important for us to share more people's story, about where they come from, how they got to where they are, and what success means to them, and how they're able to achieve that success. So just to summarize some of the things that you spoke about, you came to us from Spelman College. You originally were going to become a doctor, but you rerouted yourself into public health. And with you doing that, what you saw as success to your career, or what propelled you to success in your career, is your access and relationships with mentors, where people were able to open doors and allow you to shine, as you put it. Is that is
Mm-hmm.
that is that right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that is so valuable, because I think sometimes people mistake allies or friends for mentors. Um, a friend can help you and not be a mentor, and a mentor can help you and not be a friend.
Mm-hmm.
That is possible. That is
Yes.
possible. It,
Yes.
it it's a golden nugget or golden situation if your mentor is your friend,
Yeah.
right? That's a win-win. But how did you know this person was your mentor? How did you come to that realization? Can we mention that real quick? I
Yeah.
know we're
Yeah.
wrapping up, but just real quick.
No, that's a good one. One of them, um, I she didn't like ask or even assume the position to be my mentor. I looked up to
Right.
her. And
And
I
that's why I
I
asked
went
that.
after I went after that. And um so we were colleagues, and then we kind of had like a work friend relationship, but I've watched her, and I've watched how powerful she is and how strategic she is. um and so I said she was my mentor, and I just
Hmm.
looked up to her. And so she's a person that loves to open doors, or provide a platform, not always opening a door, but providing a platform for someone to step up and add value. And so
Hmm.
that was how that came to be. And then the other person, she was a coach. She was hired as a coach
Hmm.
for an organization.
Got it.
and she reached out to me. And I think that's also a way to have a mentor. Is people like to mentor. Some
Yeah.
people like to
Yeah.
mentor. Some people like to open new doors. Some people like to find new talent.
Hmm.
And I think also, this person saw something in me that was a benefit to them. And
Yeah.
so that's also sometimes how a mentoring relationship can come about. Is you have a skill set, there's something about you that stands out, and it's like, I can
Hmm.
add to this person and they could potentially add to me. And so that's how that came to be as well.
Correct. And that's not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with that, y'all. But to your point, you said that you found a mentor because you sought it out and you made that relationship, and then they assumed that role because of your admiration for that person, their willingness to open up. But but it's safe to say that they wouldn't have opened up as much if you didn't look for their
Right.
tutelage or look for their information in the first place.
Yes.
So it was an ongoing relationship that you intentionally created. That's important to recognize, y'all, because sometimes, sometimes a mentor can find you, like her second one, but more times than not, you're gonna have to seek them out. And I think we could also say that your dedication to your craft, you also mentioned the time it took for you to actually invest in yourself and learn about yourself and learn on your own independent of school. I think
Mhm.
that made a huge difference of why you were able to shine and stand out beyond
Huge.
where these other mentors recognized you,
Huge.
because you had to
Yes.
have something for them to recognize, right?
Yeah.
So
That's
that's
so
that's awesome. And so again, thank you for sharing your story and everything else like that.